SF60-4 ink tube update. In the ink cartridge and filter area, you need to put clamps on the ink tube connections. Renew the ink path at the rear of the printer as shown in the picture. Remove the 4 screws that hold the cartridge cover in place. Remove the cartridge cover. Cut the ink tube of the cartridge. Cut the ink tube of the filter. Remove the tube clamp. Pull out the cut ink tube. Cut and pull out the remaining ink tube in the same way. Remove the 2 screws that hold the valve holder in place. Remove the valve holder. Remove the remaining valve seat in the same way, as shown in the picture. Remove the remaining ink tube from the ink tube connector on the ink cartridge. Remove the remaining ink tube from the filter as well. Take a new section of ink tube and attach the clamp to the tube. Insert the tube through the corresponding hole. Connect the ink tube to the cartridge. Move the clamp over the connection. Attach the tube clamp. Attach the clamp. Connect the ink tube to the filter. Move the clamp to the connection. Connect the remaining ink tubes in the same way. Remove the filter from the W tube. Cut the ink tube below the filter. Remove the remaining ink tube from the connection. Cut off the ink tube connected to the peristaltic pump. Connect the ink tube with 2 clamps to the filter. Move 1 clamp to the connection. Connect the upper end of the large Y fitting to the lower end of the ink tube. Move the clamp to the connection. Take 2 ink tubes with clamps and connect them to the lower end of the large Y fitting. Move the clamp to the connection. Put the clamp on the other end of the ink tube. Take out 2 small Y fittings and connect 1 ink tube to each. Move the clamps to the connection. Remove the screws that hold the cartridge in place. Remove the cartridge cover. Locate the 2 ink tubes connected to the W cartridge. Cut them. Pull out the ink tubes. Connect the small Y fitting. Organize the tubes back into the case. Locate the other ink tube connected to the peristaltic pump. Cut it. Connect it to the other small Y fitting. Find the spare ink tube in the case. Connect it to the other port of the small Y fitting. Organize the tubes back into the case. Cut the tubes from the other filters. Remove the remaining tubes from the filters. Put the clamp on the ink tube. Connect to the filter. Move the clamp to the connection. Cut the connection of the ink tube to the straight fitting. Remove the remaining ink tube from the straight fitting connection. Put the clamp on the ink tube. Reconnect the straight fitting. Move the clamp to the connection. Replace the remaining ink tube on the filter in the same way. Replace the ink tubes under V cartridge in 6 places. Replace as shown in the photo. Remove the 4 screws holding the peristaltic pump assembly in place. Locate the connection cable. Disconnect. Organize the remaining cables back into the chassis. Update the ink tube at the rear of the printer as shown in the picture. Take cartridge cover. Secure with 4 screws. Remove the 2 screws on the splitter. Cut the 3 ink tubes connected to the splitter. Remove the 2 screws on the splitter bracket. Remove the splitter bracket. Loosen the 3 screws on the headboard cover. Remove the headboard cover. Unplug the connecting cable from the carriage board. Remove the 6 screws fixed on the headboard. Lift off the headboard. Remove the 5 screws on the headboard holder. Lift off the headboard holder. Loosen the screws on the ink tube pressing plate. Pull out the spare ink tube. Attach the tube clamp. Pull the 4 tubes together to the appropriate length. As shown in the photo. Secure the screws on the ink tube pressing plate. Lower the headboard holder. Fix the 5 screws on the headboard holder. Lower the headboard. Secure the 6 screws on the headboard. Reconnect the cable to the headboard. Install the headboard cover. Tighten the 3 screws on the headboard cover. Ink tube update is completed.